When you think about the United Nations, you're often transported inside the General Assembly or the Security Council, grappling with some of the geopolitical concerns of the day. Be that the Sustainable Development Goals or the situations in Gaza, Ukraine or Sudan, to mention a few. But this precinct is also an architectural dream, filled with artifacts and artworks that could rival some of the best museums anywhere in the world, and therefore a must-see on any visit to the Big Apple. We're following the sun. Let's go inside. And while the conference halls, including the General Assembly with its concaved roof and dome, or the Security Council with its central horseshoe-shaped table and adorned by a large mural symbolizing the promise of peace and individual freedom, are centerpieces to marvel at. One is then greeted at the visitor's entrance by a bronze of former President Nelson Mandela, his arms outstretched in a familiar warm welcome, and part of a gathering point where we meet Public Information Assistant Ben Danieli.
Good morning to all of you. My name is Ben,
who takes guests on tours of the building.
There's over 300 artworks from around the world here that were gifted by governments, foundations, member states. And artwork was a part from the beginning. The architects from the beginning, they wanted to have an open plaza outside because the UN is all about the public. All this glass that was used for construction was all symbolic for transparency. And they wanted to have the public to come, roam around, feel comfortable, seeing beautiful artifacts from the home country to inspire them, to enlighten the mood. And it can rival any museum around the world. There's artworks that date back to the 3rd century BCE.
The United Nations Gifts Collection is a combined group of artworks, historic objects and architectural components officially donated to the United Nations by member states, foundations and individual donors since 1950. Take the Golden Rule mosaic based on a painting by American artist Norman Rockwell that depicts people of every race, creed and color with dignity and respect, and touches on the theme of human rights. Or this mural titled Mankind's Struggle for a Lasting Peace, as Ben explains to his tour group.
This was one of the first gifts. It was painted onto the wall, so it's a mural, back in 1952 when the building was finished. So on the left side, the artist called this the destruction of humanity, dark images, dark colors, a family suffering in the concentration camps during the Nazi regime. In the middle, we have the reconstruction, coming together to rebuild the planet, to secure the planet, inviting nations to join in on the UN, trying to find a balance for equality amongst the peoples. And then towards the right-hand side of the painting, Spanish-born artist José Vela Zanetti calls that the resurrection.
The tapestry behind me is based on the original painting Guernica by Pablo Picasso and was commissioned by Nelson Rockefeller in 1955 and then given to the United Nations on loan in 1985. We are also told that Pablo Picasso personally supervised the production of the tapestry based on his original painting. Just part of the vast collection that visitors to this precinct are privileged enough to take in.
We get about 250,000 visitors per year that take a tour. And that does not include people that just come to visit, walk around. Because you could just walk into the building and roam around. You can go to the bookshop, check out the exhibits on the first floor. You can come in for free. The UN belongs to the people. But people that take tours, if you want to see the halls, we can't have 1 million people come up there, so they do have, so there's a charge. It used to be 5 cents back in the day. Now we're up to $28 US dollars, but we still get about 250,000 visitors, and from every corner of the world. Especially groups, reservations, colleges, universities, high schools, elementary schools. We get foundations like the IKEA Foundation, Meta came, companies come, health organizations come to take tours.
Outside on the UN grounds, what's called the North Lawn, an array of works, including this remnant of the famed Berlin Wall that fell on November 9th, 1989. Or this bust of Mahatma Gandhi. Or this Irish sculpture of a ship with people descending planks into new lands. And then the educational aspect of touring the UN.
We tell the visitors that we'll talk about 3 main pillars. I like to say PHD, easy to remember, P for peace and security, H for human rights, and D for development. Now, they all have their own subject, of course, but they're all intertwined, interrelated. If there's no peace in the world, we can't build. And if we can't build, for example, if we can't build a school, we cannot have rights for children. If you don't have rights, it will lead to civil unrest. If you don't have civil unrest, you will have no peace. And so all the three pillars are connected, they're intertwined, and one does not work if the other one fails. So here at the UN, they try to tackle everything. So when there's a meeting on one subject here, it doesn't necessarily mean it's only pertaining to that one subject. It's connected to human rights and development as well.
A melting pot of cultures, ideas, diversity, and people from around the globe, often grappling with the dark side of humanity. But here, in this place, that remains a beacon of hope.
What I love about my job is the atmosphere. I mean, right now we're going through difficult times with the world politics around the world, so there is a lot of tension here, a lot of emotions going on. But being at the UN is pretty much being like in its own city, a city within a city. We have 6,000 employees from around the world. If you go to the cafeteria, you can hear over 60 to 70 languages sometimes. Governments host events every day, so you can try food from certain parts of the world that you've never tried, because they have to campaign. So there's always events happening. You always see famous people, celebrities, and you see even children coming change the future. A few weeks ago, we had a summit of the future, and you had children from all around the world speaking to diplomats on what they want. So that's what I like. Like, people come here, they don't know what to expect.
And if following the sun is your thing, the United Nations has you covered, or so they'd have us believe. Sherwin, Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.